Hey, howdy, all you cool cats and kittens. Welcome back to another episode of Stardew Valley Tools Aren't Real Edition. I'm
Oh
Jared.
boy,
Oh boy.
I'm so excited. What's gonna happen this time?
We're going to talk about things, we're going to find things, and we're going to realize that the cherry bomb sprite looks actually a lot like the cherry sprite, which makes sense.
Nice. Would you say it's just a little bit more balmy?
It is. It's the shine. It has a little more shine on it.
Yeah, they really nailed that one. Well, welcome everyone to Stardew Valley Tools Aren't Real Edition. We are beating Stardew Valley without using any tools. It's year two, spring, and we have finished a little over 80% of the community center. And right now we're farming away without using any tools.
And we've never felt better.
Well, in the game, we've never felt better. I have it on good authority that we've maybe felt better in real life.
I am currently running on 4 hours of sleep. I've been up for 15 hours right now.
Oh,
More than
jeez.
that? I don't know how much. What time is it right now? Oh, I've been up for 17 hours right now. It's good stuff.
I'm so sorry. Dear fans, I want you to know that Jared is the real MVP because last week I was running on 4 hours of sleep, so I said, let's cancel. And today Jared's running on 4 hours of sleep, and he said, let's do it. The fans need us. We've made a commitment, and we're going to honor that commitment.
That's really the core of it for me. It's like it's something I enjoy doing, and I think you have to give yourself a little bit of credit, Berkeley, because what I don't have to deal with is a toddler. I live in a world without children for now, and so far that means that I have a lot of time by myself, even if I haven't got enough sleep, and I have a suspicion that it makes it a little easier.
Yeah, it's hard to compare hardness levels of life, but I, I do think toddler makes a difference. But everyone that's watching, please get more than 4 hours of sleep. It's not fun to operate without enough sleep, as I'm
I
sure we all know.
I was talking to somebody in one of my engineering classes today, and apparently they sleep 3 to 4 hours normally. And
Whoa.
I can't imagine what that would do to you as a person. That can't be good for you.
Yeah, that's insane.
Berkeley, I
I
found a prismatic shard. Sorry.
You did?
Yeah,
That's big news.
it was in a slime.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Hold on to that.
I will. I have to show it to Gunther, I think.
There's So we've got a couple options. You can give it to Gunther, or you can take it to the desert and trade it for a galaxy sword, which is the best
Oh,
question mark weapon in the game. There might
that
be.
sounds very exciting.
Yeah, I would recommend that one.
I love the concept of Galaxy Sword. Just the name is great.
Everyone knows that purple is the most effective color of weapon, and galaxy is the most effective theme of weapon.
Yes. If somebody gave me an ice cream and they told me it was Purple Galaxy ice cream, I would be expecting a lot from that ice cream.
That's fair, yeah.
So, anyways, future people, if you're watching this and you happen to be Berkeley's daughter, um, we like you, and it was worth it to not get a lot of sleep. I'm sure Berkeley would say that.
Absolutely, 100%.
But also, why are you taking the time to watch this, future you? So, speaking of the future, it seems like things have been pretty shook up for the last, I don't know, like 16 years almost. Um, But Elon Musk, man, what is that guy up to? He seems like he's in the news every week for doing some new crazy thing.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone has seen the news. So Elon Musk, richest man in the world, wealthiest man in the world, bought Twitter and just took over in the last week, took over Twitter, and has made a lot of, in my opinion, kind of rash decisions really quickly. And I don't want to talk about it too much because I'm sure everyone's sick of reading the news, but I am a software developer at a SaaS company, which stands for Software as a Service. So, a company where instead of like selling a one-time product, we sell software as a service. Um, anyway, I feel like I've got a little bit of insight, at least into the um, more practical side of what Musk is doing at Twitter. There's a lot of legal ramifications and moral ramifications of what he's doing that I think people understand pretty well. And I don't have any unique things to say about that. But just like from my experiences of working as a software developer, I have opinions about Musk taking over Twitter and the way that he's doing it. Um,
What are they? Are I'm assuming probably not great, given the context.
yeah, I just feel like it's a mistake. So he came in and immediately laid off a lot of people. Um, Twitter, from what I understand, is not a profitable company. They're spending more money than they make, and probably have been the entire time Twitter has existed. And after buying it, Musk wanted to change that, so he's trying to cut costs as much as possible and increase revenue. So that means layoffs. The specific ways that he's going about it, though, I just think are a bad plan long term, and I will get to why. But the one thing that he did was he laid off people deliberately before their stocks were going to vest. So what that means is when people started at Twitter or at some time during their employment at Twitter, they were promised these stocks, these shares in the company. Um, and but they don't actually own those shares until they become vested. So a lot of companies will do this. My company does this, where you're promised a lot of stock, but they don't give it to you until later to encourage you to stay at the company for longer. So this is a common thing to do. Musk laid people off deliberately before their stocks vested so that he wouldn't have to pay that out, which is a scummy thing to do to your employees. Um, he's also imposing kind of weird and very difficult standards on the programmers. You might have seen the news story where he um, instructed programmers to print out on paper the code that they've written so that he can review it. Um,
Really?
I, yeah,
Oh my gosh, dude. What are you gonna do with like 200 pages of some back end
right.
thing? That's so stupid.
And when I
Sorry.
write code, I don't write pages and pages of code. I like edit a line here and edit a line there. So I don't even know how I would go about printing off the code that I've written this year.
Yeah, and yeah, like how do you know what is yours and view it in context? Wow, there's a lot of layers
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah. So those are some of the crazy things he's been doing. And here is specifically why I think it's a mistake. I'm just going to say it. I think that programmers, from what I've seen, are pretty entitled, um, a little bit spoiled, maybe. The job is not that hard once you have the training to do it, but right now, there's just not enough people that know how to do it. And so there's a lot of demand for that type of work and a lot of respect for it in the industry. And so people tend to get what they want. Um, the other thing about it is programming at one company isn't very different from programming at another company, assuming the benefits are the same, and like the company culture and stuff. Like the actual work that you're doing isn't going to change a ton depending on where you work. It's mostly about like company culture and things like that is going to have the biggest impact on your day-to-day work. So if you come into a company that I don't know how the culture was before, but it's certainly worse now, um, people don't have a big incentive to stay. Programming at Twitter isn't going to be significantly different from programming at any other company. So I think he's going to lose a lot of talent by creating this toxic work culture.
Yeah,
Um,
not to mention the people he's already laid off,
yeah,
sight unseen practically.
Hmm. Um, and specifically, I think that Musk is making this mistake because other companies that he has run, Tesla, OpenAI, um, what's the SpaceX, those companies, by and large, the workers are doing things that they couldn't do at any other company. Maybe there's a few competitors now, but not many. And so working there was a special thing. And so you can kind of get away with a lot of toxic work culture because of that. I think that's why a lot of video game companies have problems with culture. But Twitter doesn't have that. Like I said, working at Twitter is not significantly different from working at any other tech company. And so I think he's gonna shoot himself in the foot and realize really fast that people aren't gonna put up with his craziness the way that they maybe have in the past at other jobs he's had. Um, so that's mostly what I wanted to say.
Yeah, I'm really curious how that's gonna work out. So you mentioned earlier on, I think this is the first thing you said, that he's looking to try to make the company profitable by um, cutting costs and increasing revenue, and he's choosing to lay people off to do that. But there are other ways to achieve that by finding efficiency in other places, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to lay off 25% of your workforce or whatever he has done. Ooh, I'm about to die. That's going to be really bad. I need my rainbow sparkle stone. I died.
Oh
Well,
no. I
we'll
sure hope you didn't lose your rainbow sparkle stone.
yeah, we'll see. Jared, wake up. Thank you, Linus. I lost 5,000 gold. The
Ooh.
slimes picked my pocket.
Or Linus did.
Or Linus did, but you know what? I would give Linus 5,000 gold. That's
That's yeah.
I
That's
would
a
do that.
fair trade.
We're friends. I would have preferred if he did take. I would have preferred that he asked, but I understand that maybe that's not
Mm.
always possible.
Like when you're unconscious.
like when you're taking money from an unconscious person. Yes. Um. So a lot of companies focus on efficiency as a way to cut costs because um, saving money is a much more effective way to increase um, revenue than scaling up. Because if you scale up, you have to spend a proportionate amount of money to make more money. So it's like a linear thing.
Hmm.
Whereas efficiency plus scaling creates kind of a non-linear growth. Um, and I don't know what it's like to be a programmer because frankly most of my programming experience has been very basic and not particularly useful to anybody. um, but I would imagine that there's probably, especially with the AI um, growth that we're seeing, there's probably a lot of opportunity for efficiency just on the horizon, and you just need to find people who are educated enough to take advantage of it. Oh, I have to choose a profession. Sorry, I was like, why is the screen taking so long? Do I want to be a forester? Trees drop 25% more wood. That could be great for hardwood, but maybe you only can get 25% more with an axe. Do we know that?
That's a good question. The other one I recently found is really good because if you take the one where you have a 20% chance of getting double of your foraged items,
Yeah.
that's the other option, right?
It doesn't
Um,
say what the percentage, but it does say chance for double. Yeah.
so if you take that one, then at level 10, you have the opportunity to pick one that makes all foraged items gold star quality, or sorry, iridium star quality, and that includes truffles from pigs. So that can be a huge
Oh
profit
wow.
boost.
Okay. Cool.
So I
Um,
recommend that route.
Okay. Very cool. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, it's just interesting to me that he's chosen to go the route of just kind of brutal and immediate um, action in that way. It seems kind of foolish to me. But what do I know? I run zero
Yeah.
billion dollar companies.
Yeah, there might be business things. I'm sure, well, 100% there are business things about Twitter that I don't understand. Um, I'm just confused about the way he's going about it. Okay, we have a lot of stuff. Our chests are not very well organized, and they're also close to full. Oh, this one's not. Do you mind if I put all of our like metal stuff in this red chest?
That seems like a great idea.
Um, yeah. Okay, you read a book in the last couple weeks,
Oh
Good
yeah,
Omens. Can you talk
yes.
about that?
So Berkeley mentioned Good Omens to me because I have a kind of a interesting philosophy of asking questions, I guess, and trying to be pretty open-minded, and um some of that includes being okay with not really knowing what's going on all the time, from like a philosophical standpoint, and I think that makes some people uncomfortable. It made one of my teachers cry and run out of class one time, so that was fun.
I remember that.
Yeah, good, very good times.
We're not advocating making teachers cry. The crying was not merited.
It was not, it was,
That's why we're chuckling.
could be maybe considered an overreaction by some people. But so I was bringing up one of those kind of questioning ideas to Berkeley, and Berkeley recommended Good Omens, which is a book about a a world where heaven and hell exist and are fighting each other, and
Like a very traditional Catholic interpretation of heaven and hell with like hierarchy of demons and angels.
yes,
God and Satan are at the top of each hierarchy. Yeah.
yes, yeah. So it's like very textbook Christianity, in terms of the powers involved. But what isn't textbook is that there's an angel and a demon that have become friends over the thousands of years that they've been on Earth doing angel and demon stuff. And the book is written by, I'm not sure if both authors are British or if only one is British, but it's set in the UK, and I believe it's set in the 90s if I'm not mistaken. And it is, go ahead.
The time setting seemed kind of ambiguous to me.
Okay.
Very well could have been the 90s. The authors are Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett, and I believe they are both British.
Okay. I wasn't sure if Neil Gaiman was British or not because
Oh, he definitely is.
I've never heard him speak, and that's how I decide.
Fine way to decide.
So it's just full of really lovely British humor and all sorts of fun kind of what if questions. And I think that the greatest idea, I don't know how to put this, is that in the end they realized that kind of what they were both working towards didn't actually have that much of an effect on the world, and that a lot of the stuff that was bad about the world was people being people. And I loved that because I believe that people are responsible for being good or bad, and it's our choices, and it's not, it's not outside of our control. Um, it's not a foregone conclusion that we will be one way or we will be another way. And so the apocalypse is happening in the book, and there is a several different characters involved, but one of them happens to be like the son of Satan, I think. Berkeley, is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
the
And
Antichrist character that's supposed to like summon the apocalypse. This all
yeah,
sounds so sacrilegious. I apologize if we're um, seeming insensitive. The book has a very particular tone um, that I think can be hard to convey in just with hearing people talk about it.
yeah, but it is. I think it is very much satire, I would say. Um, I don't know. It doesn't come off as particularly sacrilegious to me
Reverend?
as a
Oh,
religious person, but to each their own. If you feel that way, then I understand that. But this child was switched at birth, so he was supposed to be raised by like satanic nuns to be this chaotic, destructive force at the end of the world. And instead, he grows up in this sleepy little town, and he uses his like dominion over the earth kind of subconsciously to make lots of fun and interesting things happen without realizing. And because he's like a little kid, I don't know how young he is, but I would assume that he's probably 9 or 10.
yeah, I
Um,
think that's right.
and so he has this kind of childlike perspective on everything that's happening. And in the end, um, the angel and the demon that became friends, and all the powers in between get together, and this kid kind of sets them all straight on what he wants them to do, and they kind of go with it because they don't really know what else should be happening, because the context for the kind of frame story of the conflict between heaven and hell is that to God it's a game, but he's the only player who knows all the rules, and so everybody else just kind of has to figure it out based on what he's willing to tell them. I don't know if that's how you would describe it, Berkeley, but that would be my best shot at describing it. And so they kind of realize like, oh, I guess I don't really know if this is exactly the way things were supposed to go. Maybe it is okay if you just live the life of a normal guy, and we all be decent people to each other, and just take it day by day. That's how I would summarize it. And I loved it. Really funny, really witty. If you like witty, sarcastic commentary about society, it does a great job of providing that.
It does, yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good summary. I can't describe it any better without spoiling things. But I highly recommend the book and the TV show. I think it was an Amazon. Wait, what's their TV studio called?
Prime?
Yeah,
Original? Something?
don't know why I couldn't remember that. I was trying to say Amazon Plus, but that's wrong.
Amazon Plus.
Amazon Prime. Yeah. Another thing that I love about it. So you mentioned that it's satire and it's very funny, but I think it's got some really good, legitimate commentary. One
Yeah.
of the things that I loved about it is the depiction of both heaven and hell and their forces as being like extremely bureaucratic.
Yeah.
Um, I love when media kind of humanizes those forces in that way. I think that was done really well. And to me, the main theme that I got out of it was just the difference between like individuals' experiences and decisions versus large institutions and organizations making decisions. Um, I don't know if that made any sense, but there's like this contrast throughout the book of when all the angels are working together, they'll make one decision, but when you just get one on its own, living a very human life, suddenly priorities change and decisions change. And the same thing with the demons in the book, and the same thing with the humans in the book. And time after time, we see individuals making I would say, better decisions than the institutions are making.
Yeah.
And so that it kind of one of the themes or morals, I guess you could say, that I got from the book was like prioritize your relationships and your lived experience over any sort of dogma or organization, because those things will always fail you eventually, um, versus being true to yourself and what you're experiencing.
Yeah. It I don't want to spoil it, but the angel and the demon characters do a lot of things that you wouldn't expect, and there's a there's a couple of human characters that are maybe a little bit delusional, but
Talking about the witch hunters.
yes, but also very entertaining because of it. And yeah, just seeing the way that they all interact is pretty interesting when they get isolated and on their own, and they have a chance to kind of reevaluate what they're doing and why and what their stance is. And yeah.
That's good omens. Check out the book or the show.
I haven't seen the show yet, but I'd like to, based on the book. The book made me want to watch the show. It was just a great book. I'm gonna stop talking about it now because I think I'm I'm getting too worked up about this book, Berkeley.
Hearing you describe it made me nostalgic. I might have to go rewatch it soon or reread it.
So you watched it first, and
I
then you read
did.
it.
I did. Yeah, it was a strange experience because I've never had this before, but the book was so similar to the show, or I guess the other way around. The show is so similar to the book that it was almost disappointing reading the book after watching the show. Not because it was worse in any way, just because it was the exact same thing. Like there were so many scenes that were word for word the exact same scene. And so it just felt like watching the show twice instead of like consuming the same story in two different ways. Getting two different angles on it is what I was expecting to happen. Um, but it was it just felt kind of repetitive.
Can you
So I'm curious to
imagine the Lord of the Rings fandom like complaining that the movie is too real to the book?
you're right. I'm being a little ridiculous, huh?
No, you're not. I just think it's so funny, like how many people, like finally someone does it where they're true to the book, and then it kind of makes it disappointing because there's not more to get out of it.
Mm,
You know,
yeah,
it's totally understandable that you'd feel that way. I'm just imagining like other big fandoms having that problem would be hilarious.
that's true. I did not feel that way after like Harry Potter, for example.
Yeah.
Um, Somehow I have never been to floor 100, so I just got a star drop for the first time,
Hmm.
and it filled my head with thoughts of bare hands.
Hmm.
Mm.
Hmm. Interesting. Well, I'm not having much luck finding wood down here. And it is midnight. All right.
Ooh, let's get out of here.
I did find a winter root though, which we might need for
Oh, yes, let's
making
save
winter
that.
seeds.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, I did hang on to it. Good. You never know with me. I might destroy something or
Do you still have your prismatic shard, by the way?
I do, yeah.
Okay, cool. I couldn't remember if you lose inventory if you die in the mines.
I think it can happen sometimes, but it didn't happen to me. I also found a refined quartz, so we can make more nice sprinklers when we get to that point.
Cool.
Are we putting quartz in the red chest now too?
We've got a lot of quartz here in the default chest.
Okay.
Well, I guess not. I'm gonna go to bed and sort my stuff in the morning.
That is a great plan. I am going to sprint inside before the Jojamart thugs can capture me. Ooh, new combat level. I now have a slime incubator crafting recipe and an explosive ammo crafting recipe. Interesting.
Oh,
I wonder if I could
those are
use that explosive ammo to chop down trees.
ooh, that'd be cool. Those are two items I have never used in the game.
Why would you want a slime incubator?
You can turn slime into slime eggs and then put the slime egg in the incubator and then you can raise slimes on your farm. I don't know all the details of that. Um,
I'm just trying to understand why this would be appealing. You know, like that's a weird. It's a weird thing. Maybe if you like fighting, you're creating yourself a little gladiators arena.
yeah, there's also things that you can craft where it's hard to get enough slime to craft them. So imagine that using your slime to make eggs to make more slime is the only way to like have enough of the stuff you need. Kind of like in Minecraft when people get so advanced that they start making cobblestone farms.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why would you ever need a cobblestone farm? But people get far enough in the game where that becomes prudent.
Yeah, so I have a copy of that Minecraft server I used to play on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, before they shut it down, they published the map, and like 10 years later went digging around because I was feeling very nostalgic for it and found it.
Hmm.
So I downloaded
That's
it.
awesome.
Yeah. And it was interesting to see all the stuff that we all built, your hotel and Anders' crazy farming and sheep exploits
Yeah, so many sheep.
and Zach's ships.
Man, that was awesome. That was a good time.
So if you ever wanted to take a walk down memory lane, it's available.
I might take you up on that.
Okay, where would you like regular old winter root?
Let's put that in the green one because winter root grows.
Oh, cool. We have 2 now.
Yeah, I got one too. I'm glad you said something because I might not have noticed it was in my inventory if we hadn't been talking about yours. Okay, it is almost 9 in the morning and I'm almost done sorting up my mess from last night. So this is a lot like real life.
Would it be okay if I went to the desert to get my
Yes.
sword? Do I need to
That would
take
be a
anything
great
with me,
thing.
like
Just the
quartzes?
prismatic shard. You could take quartz and trade for some more bombs while you're there.
What about jade? Oh, we haven't donated a jade to the museum yet?
Oh, we should do that.
All right.
I can do that if you want.
Yeah. I'll
I've got-
leave it all in the chest then.
I've got some geodes to crack open, so I'll be over there anyway.
Cool. I have a couple geodes in my inventory too. I'll put them in the red chest for you as well.
Okay, thanks. I missed it, but Megan in the chat gave some more info about slimes. She says, if you have a slime charmer ring, then the slimes won't hurt you when you raise them. That's a good note. And like Berkeley said, they make these big globs of slime that you can slay and get like 20 slimes at a time. Nice. So it's just another way to farm slime.
Which you then turn into more slime?
Yeah, presumably. One thing that you need a lot of slime for is making oil presses. I'm running into that in my personal game,
Okay.
where I need a lot more slime than I have,
Yeah.
to be able to turn all my truffles into oil. Speaking of which, I just got another truffle. Huzzah.
Have you ever eaten truffles in real life? Like the actual fungus or whatever it is? not
I have not.
chocolate truffles. Okay.
Have you?
I have, but not often. And it's good, but I don't want to be that guy, but I would say that the experience I had was maybe a little overrated. And so I'm curious, what I had was truffle salt, which is probably not anywhere near as great as truffle oil or actual straight up truffle, but it's so expensive that I'm guessing many people are in that same boat with me, having not ever had the real deal. At least that's how I'd consider it. I've tasted what's supposed to be the flavor, but I don't think it's probably really how it actually is.
Would it be one of those things that's fancy because it's fancy because it's fancy and is actually gross?
Yeah, probably like roe. I'll never understand people eating fish eggs. I've eaten my fair share on sushi and stuff, but it just doesn't appeal to me. It's not really my thing. Okay, I'm in the desert shop.
Oh,
I'm
so
what?
that is not where you get the sword. Is that what you're trying to do?
Yes, correct.
So in the top right of the desert, there's three pillars,
Okay.
and you just have to stand in the middle of them holding the prismatic shard. It's
Oh,
pretty much the coolest way to get an item in any game ever.
it's very Legend of Zelda esque, I
Hmm.
would say. Whoa,
Yeah.
I'm in a
Actually never
trance.
played the Zelda game.
I'm hallucinating. My wow. I
Jared found the galaxy sword.
I just kind of blacked out there for a second and came back with the sword. Oh boy, that does a lot of damage. Wow.
Yeah.
That we got to give it a couple of swings here. Look at that. So fast. And purple, beautiful. So I saw a dude in a suit in the desert oasis store. Is that the
Yeah.
mafia?
Yeah. Actually, um, so there's a very mysterious character named Mr. Chi, and he gives you a very enigmatic quest to find him. That's the only way you can figure out he exists in game. Um, that's his bouncer. He's protecting like a casino that's back there. And then
Wow.
there's more Mr. Chi stuff on Ginger Island, if and when we ever get there.
If this bouncer had gauges and put on a little bit of white makeup, he could do a really great goth look.
Yeah, you should tell him.
I tried to, but he beat me up, so I ran away. Okay, so there's a ton of rare seeds here at this store, which is cool.
Mhm.
And a bunch of things we don't need. Cool. All right. Well, that was neat.
Yeah, once we have the greenhouse, maybe we could start doing some star fruit in there. That's a good high earning crop. And once you have the greenhouse, you don't have to worry about season, so that's nice.
Do weeds
But
grow
yeah,
in the greenhouse?
they do not. Yeah.
Interesting.
So the greenhouse will be extra good for us because for us we pretty much have to lay new sprinklers each time because to till the soil, it's really hard to till it without breaking the sprinkler.
Yeah.
Um, But in the greenhouse, we can just till the whole greenhouse, put down all the sprinklers, and then it'll just be good and ready for us forever. You don't have to worry about retilling or any of that.
I look forward to the day.
So
Oh,
you also,
sorry.
oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
It looks like you're in the desert cavern. Do you want me to? I've got another thing to talk about, and you've got another thing to talk about, and I don't want to pass the ball to you if you're busy killing flying
Oh
serpents.
no, go ahead. I don't even remember what I was supposed to talk about.
No.
I'm in a state of bliss.
You were well, so we talked about last time we streamed, I talked a bit about Lego Star Wars. And at the time I was enjoying the new Lego Star Wars game, but now I am loving it. So I want to
The way you
just
set that
give
up, I
another
was preparing
quick.
for you to not enjoy it, but
Oh no.
but then you did.
Yeah. So I was okay. I was a little skeptical last time, and here's why I was skeptical. The original games, it was all about the levels. You had like your three or your six movies, and for each one of the movies, there were six levels, and that was basically the game. There was a little bit you could do in the cantina, like we talked about. You could start fights there, but the game was the levels. This new Lego Star Wars game flips that on its head, and I hadn't quite realized that yet last time. So I would say that the levels are about 30% of what there is to do in this game.
Wow.
Um, there's only five per movie, although there's nine movies now, so I think there ends up being more levels total. But the levels are much, much shorter. Some of them you can finish in like 3 or 4 minutes even. And I remember the original ones taking like 15 at least if you were rushing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So the part of the game, the other 70%, um, that I have now fallen in love with is just this open world exploring. So there's about 30 locations that you can go to, and they're just like full of characters and puzzles and challenges. And that's where most of the game content takes place. If you wanted to say that you're just finishing the game and not like 100%ing it, you could easily not spend any time in those places, like the open world exploring places.
Yeah.
But I have been spending a lot of time there, and it's just been a ton of fun. There's lots of really funny dialogue, lots of classic Lego puzzles. They've got these cool challenges where you'll have like 90 seconds to run through 15 targets, or 5 seconds to shoot 4 boxes to get a little. They call them Kyber bricks, these little blue bricks that you're trying to collect all over the galaxy. Um, and a lot of just great homages to the movies. So you can explore the planet where Obi-Wan fought General Grievous in Episode 3, or you can explore Coruscant. They've got like 4 different places on Coruscant that you can go to. And there's just so much to do. I was trying to do the math. I'm pretty sure there's over 1,000 of these little bricks that you can go collect through
Wow.
doing puzzles or finding them. Um, so it might get tedious. I don't know. I've collected about half of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've heard people criticize the game by calling it a collectathon, which I think is fair if you're not into that. But right now, I'm feeling very into it. So um,
So
I'm
bring on the
sold on
collectathon.
this new style of Star Wars, Lego Star Wars.
That's very cool. I did you play the Lego Indiana Jones games back in the day?
A little bit. I never owned it, but I played a lot of it at like friends and cousins' houses.
Okay. So there was a little bit of that open world aspect in
Mhm.
in the one that I remember that was not there in any of the Lego Star Wars games that I remember. So it's cool
Hmm.
to see that they've developed that into something that's actually more the main element than just the levels. Because the levels were fun, but once you've done it, you've done it. And
Yeah.
and I can't tell you how many hours I spent on the Duel of the Fates level where Qui-Gon Jinn and Darth Maul are fighting, getting the money that would fall out from between the shields when the shields would activate in that hallway.
Uh-huh.
I was just to get the purple stud at the end.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyways, so that's really neat. It's cool to hear that they're innovating and not just resting on their laurels, as it were, having established a franchise already.
Yeah. One other difference that I wasn't quite sold on last time, but I am now, is the dialogue. So one of the hallmarks of the old Lego games was that no characters had there were no words. There was no
It
English
was
in those
all
games.
just
It was
like,
just grunts.
yeah.
And it was delightful, and it lended itself to a very particular type of humor. These games, they have dialogue, and at first it was a little bit off-putting. It felt like it had lost some of the charm of Lego Star Wars. Um, but then I got to some bits that were just really, really funny. I think my favorite character so far has been um, Sith Rey. So in episode 9, I want to say, in the movies, Rey has a vision of herself as a Sith.
Mm-hmm.
And that character from the vision is playable in this game. And it's the same voice actress as the regular Rey character. And the actress did a phenomenal job. Um, she's just so snarky and funny. Like she'll say things like, "I've actually turned to the dark side now, so I don't do that anymore." If you try to do something that Sith aren't able to do in the game.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what else. Oh, when you switch to her character, she says, "All hail Empress Palpatine." That's right, I'm evil now. It's just delightful. And most of the characters have little bits of dialogue like that. A lot of them are not as funny, but some of them definitely are. If you're playing as Palpatine, he'll start telling the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise. Um,
Nice.
yeah,
It's not a story the Jedi would tell you. That's awesome. I
yeah.
I am even more interested in buying it now.
Yeah, I recommend it. Okay. Another day. What are we at? We're at 45 minutes. Are you still doing okay?
I'm doing good. Yeah, let's knock this one out. I don't think we've got anything to donate yet, which might be the case as we get farther down. It's going to become more and more difficult. Or I mean, not
Yeah.
farther down. That's a mining thing. As we get closer to completion, it's going to be
Yeah.
harder to acquire what we need until the end of the growing season in each season.
Yep. Thanks, folks, for sticking with us through this period of trying to get that last 20% of the community center.
You love us for our personality, right?
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 Right? Not for the dopamine rush that comes with incremental progress. It is Friday, so we can check out the traveling cart.
Oh yeah. Did you want me to do that, or do you want to do it and report back?
Looks like you're already in the mines, so I will go ahead and do that.
I am looking for hardwood in vain.
Mm. Well, veins usually are full of ore, not hardwood.
That's true.
Eh.
Ha ha ha.
Oh, can I share a fun thing I did? This
Yeah.
was a while ago. I forgot that this was after the last time we streamed. So I went to an event called Halloween here in Salt Lake, where I happened to run into Jared's brother. Hello, Jared's brother, if you're watching. It's fun to see you there. So Halloween is put on by the band Jukebox the Ghost. Are you familiar with them?
I am not, but I love that name. That's wow.
They had a tweet recently that was a little indignant about their name. I guess people make fun of them about their name a lot, but they claim to have done it before it was cool to name your band Noun, the Noun.
Yeah, I can see
Portrait of a
that being
man
a little
talking to you.
cliched now.
Hmm. Anyway, so the band's good. I don't know their music super well, but I enjoy like their most popular songs. But Halloween is an event that they do every year where half of the night they play their own songs, and then the second half they play Queen covers. The lead vocalist is really, really good, which is what you need to be to cover Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
Um, and they did a great job, and it was really fun. It's just super fun singing that old classic rock in a big group of enthusiastic people. This is a weird comparison to make, but it felt a little bit like doing a Rocky Horror Picture Show. I've
Oh,
never done that
interesting.
live, but I've heard a lot about it and seen videos.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where the whole idea is that we're gonna get together and do a performance together. It's not just about watching a performance, but like participating in a performance as a group.
Yeah.
And that's how this felt. Like we weren't there to see the musician per se. We were there to see the music and participate in that specific music um, that we all loved. And I recommend it if you ever have a chance to go to a Queen tribute concert. Ton
Do
of
it.
fun.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's so interesting to have not been alive in the 80s
Mm.
and slash 70s and to like see how much iconic music came out of that time period that's still so relevant today.
Hmm.
I hope this doesn't ruin it for anybody. I often wonder how much of that is just because it was popular and so it's like profitable IP, and if they keep it relevant it remains profitable. But the other not cynical part of me looks at that and goes, wow, what an amazing piece of culture. It must have been so cool to be there and experience that
Yeah.
as it was, you know, in the as Mr. Kernak would say, in the zeitgeist.
Yes. Did you watch the movie Bohemian Rhapsody?
I did, yeah.
That like final climactic scene, the concert.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I don't remember the name of that event. Do you remember what it was called?
I don't,
That
but
benefit concert that they had.
yeah, at the stadium, right, where
Yeah,
everybody's there, and he's kind of jamming with the crowd a little bit, and yeah.
yeah. I've watched videos of the real thing, and the movie did a great job of depicting what it was like, down to the costumes and the stage and the angles and the yeah, they did a great job. Anyway, just like watching that movie and watching the videos of the actual event afterwards, I just feel so much reverence for that that time in history. So cool to partake of it in a new way.
Yeah, I'm jealous of Freddie Mercury's voice, as are I am sure many other people.
What?
Um,
You would have his voice if you could?
if I could choose a singing voice,
What a
I don't
hot
know.
take.
The type of music I write would suit, maybe wouldn't suit Freddie Mercury very well, but
Mm.
just the ability to do something that well is really cool. Okay, I have a dwarf scroll. It's number 2. Do we already have number 2? Probably.
If you hover over at the description, I'll tell you.
Uh, it tells me that it's a scroll with a green ribbon, so I'm guessing
Mm.
we already have it.
Yeah, so it'll tell you, Gunther will be able to tell you more about this,
Okay.
if you have not donated it. That's true for all items.
So can I tell you a stupid joke that I just remembered?
Yeah.
So this guy is really struggling and decides to go to therapy, and in his first session with his therapist, he's having a hard time opening up, and he finally gets there and he says, uh, "Therapist, I don't really like myself." And the therapist says, "Oh, actually, that's pretty common." And the guy says, "Oh, really?" And then the therapist says, "Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't like you."
Ah, that's I w- I would never go back to therapy. That would be
That'd be crushing.
a hard experience.
I'm sure it would be. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
In our last few minutes before the stream, you mentioned that you had a hard time getting some survey responses on some research you were doing.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't
So
sure if that was like formal research or just like a something you were doing on your own time.
so I am in a professional writing course, and as part of the course we have to do a research project, and I thought that it was all going to be like a mock research project because it's not a class about doing research. It's a class
Hmm.
about business writing. But
Okay.
I was wrong. It required real research, and it's very much a busy work class where there's all these requirements made and you just kind of have to jump through the hoops. So I've been doing that. And one of those required you to propose a research project. And then people were going to be put into groups and they'd vote on which topic to do based on what was proposed by everybody in the group. And so I put together one about Putin's like impact on Europe and the future of Russian policy. And I thought that nobody would want to do that because it's pretty heavy politics and like economics and stuff that most people don't like. But my group decided they wanted to do it. So I went from something that I proposed just to check a box to having it be a real thing. And the problem with that is that you have to do primary research, which means you have to interview people who really live in the situation that you're researching. And
Ooh.
I don't know anybody from Europe except for one exchange student that I met in high school who I haven't talked to since high school.
And probably
So,
couldn't contact if you wanted to, right?
yeah. So I was left to the wiles of the internet and
Hmm.
looking around there to try to find people. I thought, "Oh yeah, Reddit. There's a lot of Europeans on Reddit. I'm sure that I can find a friendly community where they'll be okay with me asking my survey questions." And that was really not true.
Oh,
I messaged a lot of moderators on a lot of like European Union, Ask Europe, all sorts of subreddits, and Yeah, the answer is no. We do not want your survey. Even if it's a sub about asking questions, we don't want your questions.
That's I'm so surprised that you said Ask EU or Ask Europe
Ask Europe, yeah.
did not want you to ask Europe.
Yep. I felt a little bit bewildered at that one, to be honest. But so it's fine. I ended up finding some survey exchange sites where students can post their surveys and explain their demographic, and then in exchange somebody else who meets that demographic can share their survey with you. And is that the best way to gather unbiased data? No. Does it work for a business writing class that's making you do real research about real things? Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, I guess I just thought that the internet would be like a helpful, welcoming place, and in the end it wasn't. You got to find people who are struggling with the same problem you have if you want to get help, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, that's a hard place to be in when, like, if it's someone you know, you can ask for a small favor like that and be pretty sure that they'll receive you well.
Yeah.
Um, if it's if you need strangers, suddenly it becomes a lot harder to get help because people just aren't super interested in doing even small things like that. Um, and I'm not trying to like complain about society or say that there's anything inherently wrong with that. I think it's really natural and normal, and I feel the same way when strangers ask me for things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been in that position as well, like looking for survey respondents and just not even knowing how to start doing that.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's all so matter of fact when when you create it, you're like, "Oh yeah, well, I'll just have respondents and they'll be in this group and it'll be fine." And then you go to
Mhm.
actually find them and you realize I don't know these people and I don't know where to find them. And even if I do know where to find them, might not be willing there. It's like Gallup polls where they call your house and ask you questions. Who answers the phone anymore? It's so
Yeah,
weird.
yeah, I just keep running back and forth from chests, trying to put stuff where it goes. I think I'm good now. Well, did you say you did find enough respondents to write your
Um,
paper?
I haven't checked yet. It's not due until Sunday. So I have most of what I need, but I don't know if I have all of what I need yet. Um, if not, I'm gonna do a little bit of reposting, or maybe I'll go through and comment bump on each of my posts.
Well, good luck with that.
Thanks. I'll need it. It's more the patience to just get it done, I think, than anything.
Patience only gets you so far, unfortunately, when other people are involved.
That's true. Caffeine does the rest.
The goodwill of Reddit is not something that I would want to be holding my breath for.
It depends. It depends on what it is, I think.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
yeah, yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right, well, it's that time of day again. We didn't have any fun things to turn in, but I do have a cool new sword now, and Berkeley
Yes.
has a Berkeley has Berkeley. What do you have? What's in your inventory
I'm
right now?
What's in my inventory right now? Just the things I started with. Oak chair, 64 hay, milk pail, copper pan, slingshot. Oh, I can be showing you. Oh, most of these things don't show up when I hold them. Just one of them shows up.
Hay.
Hay. I have hay.
64
Actually,
bales of hay in your pocket.
less less hay than I started with. That's okay.
Well,
I was aggressively hitting shift, trying to like squat like you do in Minecraft.
it doesn't work
And
here, unfortunately.
nope. You can only emote during cutscenes in this game.
Well, it's been another great stream. Thanks everybody for coming out and hanging out with us. in the next
Yeah, thank you
few
so much.
streams, spring's gonna end, and we're gonna have all sorts of summertime fun with even more things to donate. So make sure to check back.
Yes. Please follow us on Instagram if you're not already, and Twitch or YouTube or both. Links to all those things are in the about page of our Twitch channel or the description of this video if you're watching on YouTube. And I do believe
Bye.
that's it. Bye.